Next is mechanical interlocking. So,
Yes.
and here we have some images of mechanical interlocking. Now, there are some letters that are going to appear. And so the first letter that's going to appear is the letter A.
Oh, right. I see. Okay. Okay. Well, again, many different types of mechanical interlocking. This is my favorite type. This is 5-bar vertical tappet locking. There are many different manufacturers and many different railway companies that make it, but this is my favorite. So we're underneath the signal box now. We're in the room underneath, not in the operating room upstairs. We're in the sort of the ground floor, and the levers are above us. And where A is in this particular design, and as I say, there's many different designs, but in this particular design, there's a set of cams. And when a lever is operated upstairs, when the signalman pulls the lever towards him, that cam will shoot out of that box. And you can see just to the left of the A, there's 1, 2 close together that are in the reverse position. And all the ones to the right of the A, you can see that cam plate is in the box and the lever is normal.
So if I just, so you can see the level difference here, right? This is what you're talking about. Is that right? So that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, well, you have got it exactly right, but I was actually talking about directly to the left of the A. You can see there's a plate with a slot in it that is much further out than the ones to the right.
Oh, these. I see. Forgive me. Yes.
That's it.
These,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah. But you're absolutely right in what you said, because you'll notice that there's a slot cut in that plate, and there's a pin that goes through that slot, which is connected to those vertical tappet bars, which if you can show B, please.
Yes, I can do that. There we are. There's B.
Yep. So all those vertical tappet bars are all connected to those cam plates. And because that slot has got an angle that you can see at the end, and it's got another angle that you can't see at the other end, at the extreme ends of the stroke of the lever, the tappet blade, the B, will be moved up and down in 2 sets of movements. It'll start and it'll go halfway, and then when the lever's fully reversed, it'll go the rest of the way. And when it goes back to normal, it'll move to the middle the moment you take it out of reverse, and you can do the complete stroke of the lever. Last thing, when you put it to normal, it'll go fully into the normal end of its travel. So yes, where you put those little arrows, you found a very detailed difference in the height of the tappet blades there. It's exactly right. It's because those levers reverse, the tappet has moved downwards by, what's that, an inch or just 2 inches or thereabouts.
Yes, but what I'd missed, because it's a little bit dark, I should have adjusted the image slightly. Is these, you can just about see them, everyone. Is these larger bars that are stuck out, which are kind of there, which I've kind of outlined in red just for a bit of clarity. Yeah, okay. So
that's it. As I say, not all lever frames have them. There are many different types of arranging this, but I thought I'd just concentrate on one, and obviously I picked my favourite.
Of course.
So as the levers move normal and reverse, the tappet blades, B, move up and down. And if you wouldn't mind showing C, please.
There we are.
And where C, so I couldn't put the actual C on the thing, but I've drawn an arrow. So you can see where C points to, and you can see it even more in the sort of the inset version, is the tappet blades have notches cut out of them, and they're sort of beveled on both sides. And you can see that there's a lump of brass called a lock nib or a lock dog that has mated with that notch. That's it, exactly there. And the lock dog is connected to the horizontal bar that is directly above it. And as that tappet blade moves down, the bevel edge on the notch will force the lock dog to the right. It's not connected. That's it. Yeah, it's not connected to the vertical one. The vertical one is just there to hold everything in, so it doesn't just all fall out. Yeah. So the vertical one you can ignore.
So this is the one. So this goes down.
That's it. Yeah.
That force here pushes this thing, pushes
that's
that
it.
The bevel thing pushes it that way. Okay. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So if we imagine a complete mirror image of that on another lever, we can either allow or obstruct the horizontal movement of that lock dog. And if we obstruct it, the tappet can't move down. And if the tappet can't move down, the cam bar can't come out. And if the cam bar can't come out, the lever can't be moved. So the signalman will be upstairs trying to pull the lever, and it'll be that lock dog, the inability of that lock dog to move to the right in this particular set of circumstances, that stops him or her operating that lever. And this is called tappet locking, and it's been around for a very long time. It's really effective. I think that this 5-bar stuff, and incidentally it's called 5 bars because you can get 5 bars in each sort of line of the interlocking, so it's really space efficient. There was 3-bar and other stuff. That's what it's all based on, and you can do all sorts of wonderful logical operations, computing operations, using this tappet locking. So whenever you're ready, unless there's any more points.
No, I was going to say, so then we've got D, which appears here, which...
Oh, I forgot about D. So D, sorry, yes, D is on the horizontal bridles that connects the lock dogs together. And there might be, well, any number of 2 or more on each. Only you can have one, actually. Sorry, I've just thought of a circumstance where you could have one. But there will be a number of lock dogs attached to each horizontal bar, and they move from left to right if they can. Never up and down. Well, I say never. I should learn. Never say never in the railway. There will be an installation.
There's some strange exception. Yeah.
Really complicated logical operation is required to be done, and I'm sure there is some somewhere that can move up and down. But for the sake of this, they can only move from left to right, and the tappet blades can only move up and down.
And I was just checking there wasn't an E there. So we have an interesting question from actually John Christoph again, saying, why is it called a dog? Well, my response to that is because almost everything's called there's always something called a dog. I think anything that's got a funny shape, we call it a dog. You know, you've got timber dogs for lifting sleepers around, and sort of all sorts of funny names for things that always involve the word dog. But yeah, someone else came in. Adrian's coming. Adrian's dropped in and said it's just an engineering term for something that prevents movement or imparts movement by offering physical obstruction. So there you go.
Well, that's exactly what it does.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Lovely. So right now we're getting into the diagrammatic part. Yes,
and I went to great lengths drawing all these in my favourite CAD design package of PowerPoint.
Absolutely. It's what I rely, as lots of people in the chat currently will know, it's also my graphics design package of choice. So right with you on that.
Right. I can't see the colours, I'm afraid. So is it green for 1 and orange for 2?
So number 2 is green, number 1 is yellow.
Okay, right.
Oh, I'm sorry you can't see the colours. That's very strange.
No, that's all right. So I'm going to call it orange and green. I deliberately picked colours that aren't general use lever colours. Again, there'll be an example somewhere, and there certainly was examples of green levers in history, but I've deliberately detached this part of the demonstration from anything to do with lever colours. But we've got 2 levers here, number 1 and number 2, and they're going to be interlocked together using this tappet system that we just described. And what we're going to achieve is that 1 and 2 are mutually exclusive. So if you reverse lever 1, you can't reverse lever 2. And if you reverse lever 2, you can't reverse lever 1. Therefore, it follows that you cannot have 1 and 2 reverse at the same time. So the orange and green is the tappet blades that can only move up and down. And the red is the lock dogs, and they are physically connected together by that sort of dumbbell shape. They can, if one moves, the other moves. They can't get closer together than they are shown on the drawing, but they can shuffle from left to right. So in step 1, both of the levers are normal. Both of the tappet blades are at the top. It just so happens that the lock dog is engaged in lever number 1, but it's completely free to move left and right, because you can see there's plenty of space for it to move into the notch on lever 2. That's it. And in step 2, we've reversed lever number 2. So the tappet has moved quite considerably further than it would in real life. Down the page, it's now reverse. And you can see that the notch no longer lines up with where the dog is. So it is now impossible for that lock dog to move to the right into lever number 2 because the notch no longer lines up. You'll also notice that the notch only lines up when it is exactly normal. Sometimes you want it anything that's not 1 millimeter away from normal, or anything that's anything but reverse, or any combination you want. You can make the notch taller and longer, but in this case, that lock dog can only move into lever number 2 when that tappet blade is fully at the very top. And that's how we want our signalling to operate. We don't want any sloppiness. It's when we're definitely normal, and then we can move lever 1. So hopefully you'll agree that in step 2, those locks are now absolutely fixed in position, and therefore it would be impossible for tappet number 1 to move downwards because it couldn't push the lock dogs over, and therefore it's impossible to pull lever number 1. So what we've achieved here is that if you pull 2, you can't pull 1. In step 3, I've put lever number 2 back to normal. Step 3 is exactly the same as step 1. Tappet number 2 has gone all the way up to the top. The green tappet is all the way at the top. The locks are now free to move left and right again if they want to. They stay in the last position that they're sort of set to. They're not sprung or anything. Well, sometimes they are sprung, but these ones are not sprung. So because lever number 2 was the last one to move, the locks are still over on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to try and pull lever number 1. I'm going to try and push that tappet blade downwards. And because the lock and the tappet blade have both got that diagonal beveled edge on them, as soon as I start moving lever number 1 and the tappet starts moving downwards, it will force the lock over to the right. And as soon as it starts forcing it over to the right, it engages with the notch in lever number 2. And then I can't pull lever number 2. So I can't even be clever and try and pull them both at the same time or anything like that. I wouldn't get either of them if I tried to pull them both at the same time, because both locks would be trying to move in. So what I've achieved here is number 1 locks number 2. And the great thing about this mechanical tappet locking is everything is reciprocal. If you achieve 1 locks 2, you've also achieved 2 locks 1. There are other tricks that you can pull to make it non-reciprocal, but again, for the sake of this, it's reciprocal. So the locking here could be applied to that diagram in the bottom right-hand corner. And this is what a signalling diagram looks like, apart from the pictures of the trains, which I put on. So where there's 2 parallel lines, that represents a track. And where they join almost together, that represents a set of points. And they're always shown on the signalling diagram in the normal position, the position the points are in when they are in the levers in the normal position of the frame. So if now that train on the right-hand side at signal number 2 was to move forward, it would take the left-hand route. It wouldn't crash into the other train. If we reversed the points, it would take the right-hand route and it would be face-to-face with the other train. So although I haven't bothered numbering the points just for the sake of this demonstration, I've numbered the 2 signals, 1 and 2, and you can see that it would never be safe to clear signals 1 and 2 at the same time, because the trains will conflict with each other. There's loads of other locking that we would have on even a very simple layout like this, but that tappet locking will work perfectly well for making signal 1 and signal 2 mutually exclusive with each other, so that you can only clear 1 at a time. And that is summarized in that text on the left-hand side. To move lever 1 to reverse requires 2 to be normal. To move 2 to reverse requires 1 to be normal. Therefore, 1 and 2 are mutually exclusive. And how we would word that in railway terminology is we'd say 1 requires 2 normal. And we wouldn't actually say 2 requires 1 normal, because it goes without saying, because mechanical locking is reciprocal unless you do something to make it not so. But we'll say here that 2 requires 1 normal, N for normal.